Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is James, and today I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. So, you may have heard a lot about cryptocurrency in the past few months with Bitcoin reaching all-time highs, and over the summer there was that whole Ethereum craze where everybody was buying up graphics cards, really kind of screwing up the market for a little bit, but it's finally started to stabilize again. So because of that, there's been a lot of work in other currencies, and one of those that came out of, this time is Monero. It is kind of a very different coin compared to something like Bitcoin or Ethereum in that it has a very different algorithm, and it's also used kind of differently. It's a much more anonymous coin, meaning that you don't really have to worry about details being stolen. It's much more secure, so there's not as many, hacks, which is something that actually is quite common with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's much more secure, so you can kind of feel safe with your investment. And also, it is just, I would say, a little bit more realistic to try to obtain some of this through using like a computer. Because of this, I chose to actually start working with this currency. So I had two old desktops lying downstairs, my old editing rig, which was an i7, and then I had an old i3 desktop from like 2010, wasn't really being used. So I decided to try to make some decent rigs out of this and see what I can get for money. In total, I only put about $120 into this whole setup, and I've already made half of that back with a little bit more on the way with my next payout. And it was actually very easy. So the three graphics cards I ended up with was my GTX 770 that I had prior, a R7 270X, and a R9 380. And with these cards, right now, my total system is pushing out about 1.6 to 1.8 kilohash a second. So that equates to about 0.01 Monero a day, or I think about $3 to $4 a day. So a week, I'm making close to $27 to $30, sometimes even $40, depending on the value of the currency at the time. So I got my payout of my 0.3 Monero, and what I chose to do was try to sell half of it and then keep the other half, because I don't want to, put all my eggs in one basket and just sell it all right now, because as the value keeps increasing, I know it's good to hold on to, but I did want to try to cover some of the costs that I did end up putting into this. So because I had put about $120 into this whole system, I sold half of it for about $53.16, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of half the total cost. And I'm going to keep them running. So by the next time that I get my next payout, I'm going to sell that other half and then finally make back all of the money. So everything that I'm making after that is pure profit. And I don't need to really sell that until, I feel it's ready. So I found that to be a pretty decent method, and I'm glad I did, because the price is still going up. So I made some money, and what I have left is still gaining value, almost to the point that, I think it's risen about 25% since I last sold, which is really cool. And setup was actually very easy. If you guys want a more in-depth tutorial on how to actually, put together a pretty efficient rig and how to optimize the software to give you the best hash rates, or more like in-depth explanation video, let me know in the comments below. I can definitely make a video like that. I do know that for new people in this realm, it is a little bit complicated to understand, but I think I might be able to simplify it and give you guys some resources that'll help you kind of get the ball rolling a little bit quicker. So I am planning to make, future videos as this kind of, grows. I might be reinvesting some of my sales from my currency back into more hardware to then mine with. So I'm planning on making a few future videos kind of explaining how this progresses, but right now I guess I'll just put some statistics up. So I have about $119 to $120 invested in this with the graphics card and the power supply that I had to buy, and I've made $53, so I'm halfway to turning pure profit. But hopefully by the next video, I have reached that secondary payout, so then I can be making pure profit at that point, and then hopefully maybe sell some of that to reinvest into building, like I said, maybe another computer, or maybe start making my own like open air rig, like you might have seen with the Ethereum miners, where it's just like a frame and a bunch of GPUs lined up in one motherboard, instead of having these two bulky desktops and power supplies spliced together downstairs. It is kind of a mess, but it's working, and I'm happy with it. So far it's actually been a very pleasant experience. Once I got everything up and running and did some research on how to make sure that it's stable, it's actually been very easy going. That's one thing that I know can't be said about other currencies. And because Monero is pretty high up in the rankings, but not super popular, the actual value of it kind of keeps going up, but it's never really like crashed or anything. It's pretty steady. It's not as volatile as Bitcoin or Ethereum, because that's much more widely traded. So Monero has a lot of value. It's a pretty secure currency. It really keeps gaining value. There might be some dips, but that usually falls because of Bitcoin having problems, since other currencies usually tend to follow the trend of that. But it is a really safe bet if you want to get into this, because it's something you can mine easily with graphics cards, which means that it's possible for a single person to just use their gaming desktop to make them a few bucks on the side. And also, you know, it's just something that I think is the future, and I'm really happy to be a part of this whole cryptocurrency movement, and I'm really interested to see how this kind of progresses, if this becomes a more mainstream and more widely accepted currency, and whether or not, you know, websites will start to accept this. I know Bitcoin is starting to be accepted, but because of the fees, it's become a lot more expensive for, I know Steam cut it because it was too expensive to support it. But, you know, if Monero can, you know, really come out with a very solid platform, or even just another altcoin, if they come out with a really solid platform to accept payments on mobile websites or even in stores, this might be the future of currency. So I wanted to get into it, and I think I've done a pretty good job at that. If you guys have any questions about this, definitely let me know. And if you guys want any other videos on how to get set up, how to get an efficient rig, or even just like, you know, optimizing your hardware, or even just how blockchain works, I'd be more than happy to make an explanation video on that. But for the time being, that's where everything stands today. I will make another one of these videos soon, so you guys can kind of see the update and the progression of how this has gone. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.